Welcome back, my friends, to the COVID show that never ends. I'm so glad you could attend. It's August 20th, 2020. That's 8/20/2020. I'm Jim N4BFR, and here is your Georgia metrics update for today. Today's report is average. Average number of cases, average number of tests, slightly above average percent of new cases a day. I want to talk about that in a second. Average new hospitalizations, average deaths. So it really was an average kind of day. No big superlatives here. Testing was down about 4,000. We seem to be struggling on testing for the last few weeks. The percentage of new cases was 13%. So let me talk about that piece of data for a second. You're going to hear two different numbers. One of the numbers takes new cases, divides it by total viral tests, and that gives you a percentage positive for the day. Or said differently, percentage of new cases generated by the testing volume. That's the number I use. It comes out today to 13.1%. The Department of Public Health published a number that said it was 9.2%. What's the difference? They take the number of positive electronically communicated tests and divide that by the number of electronically communicated positives. So one is electronic positives divided by electronic tests versus total cases divided by total viral tests. I feel like my number's a little more relevant because it includes a larger subset. When I say 13% versus their number 9.2%, they're not taking into account about 700 cases if you look at today's data. So that's why you're going to see some different data as we go along. Also, let's look at the RT trend. The RT trend, 0.98 today. It had slipped down. Now it's coming back up. Just before I hit record here, heard a clip from Governor Kemp saying it was 0.85. I've never seen that number. But he said that number in a press conference yesterday, so I'll do a little more digging, see if I can find out where that 0.85 is coming from. But to his point, anything above 1 means the virus is spreading. Anything below 1 means it's not, as far as the number of cases growing or not growing. So his number would say it's retracting a lot more than I think we see in the data. Let's see if we can find out what that is, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to give you an update. Similar thing on comparing data here I wanted to touch on real quick. Department of Public Health says we had 61 deaths today. The net increase was 55. So that's a difference of, it's a difference of 6, Jim. What happens to those 6? Those 6 are either duplicates or things that are reclassified to non-COVID-19. We don't know exactly what that might be, but that's what we're seeing right now. And a similar thing for cases. If you want to read more about that, it's in my Reddit post. You can go check that out and understand how their reporting differs from my net increase reporting. Okay, last thing I want to touch on, hospital beds. Hospital beds in use had a nice drop. We saw that come down 60 today. We are just above 2,500, 2,506. So like to see that coming down, but counter to that, we had a big jump in CCU usage. So we now have 8 areas out of the 14 that are at 90% or above. As you can see, it went, beds available went down to about 30 over the last 24 hours. And if you recall earlier this week that there were even more than that available. So we saw it jump back up. Could just be scheduled procedures that are starting to come through. We don't know for sure, but a very interesting number compared to the rest of the COVID-19 numbers that we're seeing. The regions that are above 90%, we've got the Floyd Medical region, that's kind of northwest Georgia. We've got Athens region, we know where that is, up in up near UGA. We've got Central Region F, that's the Macon area. We've got Oconee, that's the Milledgeville area. We've got Shoreline. We've got Columbus. We have Tift region still hanging in there, 96%. That is Tifton, Valdosta area. And then Kennestone up in northwest metro Atlanta. That typically runs hot. But we know that Cherokee County is in there. And we know Cherokee County has been widespread for a lot of school cases. And in fact, let's take a look at this. And certainly Cherokee County has 7 or 8 additions on the list here of schools that have COVID cases. A bunch were reported yesterday. Freedom Middle, Boston Elementary, Moore Elementary, and a lot of these are repeats. I think Teasley, not sure which way to say that, in Canton was one that we hadn't seen cases in before, but a lot of those are repeats. Bowdoin Elementary had 15 infections and 23 quarantines. Now, I don't believe they've actually started yet in Carroll County. I think that's a pre-testing number. And then we saw some in Bullitt County as well. So things are picking up around the state, and we'll keep watching that. So if you see something, I'm counting on kind of the Redditors to be my eyes and ears for the most part. Post it in one of my threads, or even post it as a new post in Coronavirus GA, and I will pick that up and add it into the next day's totals as I'm going through and trying to keep this all up to date. I looked today, and we had over 120 updates in the school report, and that is since we started that. I'm going to pop this up here real quick. So I'm looking at this, and we have scrolling. Isn't this fun to watch a video of me scrolling? We have 143 reports. Now, not all of them are school reports. Some of them are just kind of documenting some of the things we've seen around schools. And again, these are only primary and secondary schools. But we started this on the 5th, and it's the 20th. So we are 15 days in. And look at that. We got a lot of cases here. In fact, I'm going to see if I can't. This won't be 100% accurate, but let me try and scrape through and see if I can give you a real quick count. Let's see. More than 1,400 COVID-19 cases, approaching 1,500 in Georgia schools over the last few months. Wow! I wouldn't have thought the number would be that high, but that's what happens when you get close to it. So maybe tomorrow I'll throw in a quick update on the total number of schools when I go through and do that update. All right, I think that's it for today. I really appreciate everybody checking out my video and letting me know things like don't tap my hand on the table because it's being picked up by the mic. I won't do that anymore. And I'll also try and find a little shock mount for this mic so my audio doesn't get bumped if I do happen to start pounding the table about the governor or whoever I might want to pound the table about. All right. Thank you. Have a nice night, nice morning, whatever the case may be, and we will talk to you tomorrow.